Well, Abby, here we are.
Well, early Shabbat Shalom. You are joining us. I hope you're joining us in our kitchen with our table set for two. And we were very excited to be with our community as the sun is going to set in just a couple of hours here. And it will be Rosh Hashanah. Barry and I are really delighted to share this with our community and have an opportunity to just visit a little bit. And as we have every Shabbat, begin to make this sacred transition into a very important time in all of our lives.
It's incredibly well said, Debbie. It is that time of the year that all of us, all Jews, are doing something similar to what we're doing tonight. And it's time for, we've had the 6 weeks of reflection time to prepare ourselves for tonight and tomorrow.
But it's a little different, and we don't want to deny that. And as a matter of fact, in our 20 minutes or so together, we thought that would, that we would explore that with you. Can you see our fish tank back and behind us? So we've all customized our holidays this year. Things are a little different. Hi, Lolly. Hi, Deb. And Barry and I have never had Rosh Hashanah in our kitchen before. We actually chose not to go and take this into our dining room with the, because we have 12 chairs in there. We have a really big family, if you don't know us. And we are expecting a granddaughter any day now in Austin. And I think in our family, God willing, she'll be the 17th person. So we're used to big family tables. This is a pretty big change for us. But we know we're not the only people going through this. We all are. And so we thought we would kind of just tell it like it is. And then I would say the most important message that we keep coming back to is that we're really grateful that we have not succumbed to this really dreaded virus and that we sit together in good health. Thankfully, 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 and we can endure just about anything else. And then there's these opportunities we've had, like to gather with you and to see my friend Deb Willens right there, wishing us, a happy new year, or to see my friend Lolly, who I've known since I was a baby. We've had all of these other really special things. So we thought we would talk a little bit about what our holidays look like this year. You probably already know what yours look like. What do you think, Barry?
Well, as you said, Debbie, it's and we're a people of adaptation, and we have adapted as all of you have adapted, and the world has had to adapt. We count our blessings. We're so fortunate. So many great things have happened to us and our family during this time, when so many others have suffered, and how many other people have had trials and difficulties. So it's 5781. It's a new year, and I just couldn't imagine doing this with someone other than the person I love, you.
Thank you. Thank you, honey. So I want to tell you this story. I have a friend that I teach. She's a member of Congregation Shereth Israel, and I work with Shereth Israel every Thursday morning. And she lives alone. And she was setting her table for not two, but for one, for herself. And she talked about the things this holiday that were making her very excited. And one was that she and her sister were sharing this cool new kugel recipe that had pecans and sugar, and you make it like in a bundt pan. And they were going to FaceTime, and they were going to see how each other's kugels had turned out. Talk about adapting, and talk about bringing some joy. And a couple more things, while we're on. You can probably hear my charm bracelet jingling. So this has charms that were my mother's and my grandmother's and mine. I'm a real charm person. I love charms. They're very meaningful to me. And as a matter of fact, the little telephone, I doubt you can see it, but this little telephone here has the phone number that my mother grew up with, Emerson 82019. So on Desco. And Mark Cutler, I see you here. Shana Tova, speaking of that. So anyway, you know, there are some traditions and some rituals that make us feel good that we can still take part in, even if there's less of us here, right?
Yeah, there's as you become an adult, you start figuring out some of those things that our parents made us do, and grandparents made us do, and aunts and uncles made us do, are the things that the rabbis told us about. And all of a sudden, I get a little bit older. I said, "Wow, I get it. I understand the whole point of this time of the year, and it always is a beautiful day. And when it's not a sunny day, it's still a beautiful day because maybe it'll be a fall day. But it's this table is just transplendent. It's gorgeous, and you can't see it, but we can never forget the shofar
By our candlesticks and our prayer books. And our prayer books are not being handed out to us at Temple Emmanuel, where we would usually go. We bought our copies and we're waiting this evening. And then, something to think about that was very different. Barry and I are used to the late service, so we always have dinner with our family, which includes a lot of young kids who go to bed early. And then we would have that cup of coffee, and then we would head over to the temple for like that, 8:45 service. And this year everything starts at 7:15, and so we kind of regrouped things in our head. But one thing that we've talked about, and I don't know, I'm guessing everybody's kind of figuring out, what time and what are we turning on and what portal and all of those kinds of things. But I don't want to miss the opportunity to, and I know you know this, to pray. And I don't want it to be dinner theater. So I kind of had to regroup because, we're going to eat very early, and then we're actually going to move away from our kitchen table with our laptop and go sit, away from the dishes and away from the food, just as we would transition at temple. We would come from the table somewhere else. I know people are doing all kinds of things, and I thought I would throw that out there. Just, the differences in how we're going to make that transition from one room of the house, as we do all the time now, to another room of the house for the service and to take part in that.
Separating ourselves from food is so important for our Shabbat prayers and for our time of Shabbat. And I always think it's so neat when Rosh Hashanah falls on Shabbat. It just makes everything so much even more prettier. And it's we're getting ready to read so much about Shabbos, the regular prayers, plus all the other prayers that I'm looking so much forward to hearing the Avinu Malkeinu this year.
Yeah, it's going to be wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Let's see. I know Barry's going to talk about the Torah portion, and what I wanted to bring to the table, as it were, for the year ahead is I wanted to share something with you that Barry and I participate in every Shabbos morning. Everybody wakes up and does the things that they do on Shabbat, and part of ours is to make sure that we're resting and rejuvenating, but that we're also doing something religious, that we're also doing something that says, how is this Jewish? And so I just want to share a really small, simple one. You never know, somebody might say, I want to do that. So about a year ago, we ordered from Amazon this master set of Bible flashcards. And they are so cool. So what we do is, there's a lot of them. We make them in small bunches like this, and I put a hair tie around them. And then every night before we go to bed, we do one little stack. Like this one is Moshe. I know it's going to be opposite or whatever. So this one is Moses, right? And then you turn it on the back and it says Moses. And little by little, you start remembering them. We're working with about 4 stacks right now. And then there's still, we've got about a quarter of the box left that we haven't worked with. So you're never going to believe what has happened. All of a sudden, we are reading in our prayer book, and all of these prayers that we know by heart that are incredibly meaningful have a whole new layer. A whole new layer. And all of a sudden, this translation aspect of the prayers has begun to happen for us this year. So anyway, on Shabbat mornings, we wake up and we hang around in bed with a cup of coffee and we do some of our Hebrew flashcards. And at the time we were going to restaurants, we would take a set of Hebrew flashcards. But it's really enriched services. It's really enriched taking in the prayers. It's really enriched. We just feel a little bit more knowledgeable. And for what am I bringing to the Shabbos show today? I thought I would tell you all that. It's really been wonderful. And it's master set of Bible flashcards, if you're asking. Hi, Janet. Hi, Kristen.
Rabbi Bill Gershon was just on wishing us a happy year. We wish him the most wonderful, wonderful, healthy, and sweet year too. Learning some of these words, obviously I wish I learned them when I was younger, because we learned the prayers. I had Cantor Sanders, Shereth Israel, and I had no choice but to learn the prayers and learn how to sing them, because I think he would have whipped me, even though he was short as heck, but he was tough. And we were forced to learn everything, and it still sticks in my mind. But now Debbie's helped with these cards and these other ways for us to start learning some of the words that we're singing and we're saying, and they kind of make so much more sense.
A lot of our puzzle pieces have really fit together this year. Speaking of puzzle pieces and fitting together, what a great segue for the Torah, for the Parashah this week. Or Parashot?
Yes.
To think about that.
Parashah? No, Parashah.
Yes.
Okay, whatever.
Is.
So this week we're always given Torah portions, and sometimes there's doubles, and sometimes there's singles, and sometimes on holidays there's always a special one. Well, we're assigned different portions this week, and of course we have 2 Torah portions because it's a 2-day holiday, and we celebrate one, and sometimes we go into the second day too. But we definitely there's 2 portions that you may or may be hearing or seeing, reading both or just one. But the first one is about Sarah and Abraham, and their relationship with Hagar, the maidservant, and their son Ishmael, who was sent into exile. And then later on, we go to the Haftorah, which relates to it. And of course, that story comes from the book of Samuel, which is about the story of Hannah. And she's not able to have a baby. And hopefully, with her intense prayers, God will hear her. I don't give a spoiler alert, but the book is called Samuel. That's what we're reading from. And then the second day, or it could be our first day, we read from, once again, Abraham and Sarah, and about the binding of Isaac. And that's a heart-wrenching story. And then, of course, the Haftorah that follows it is a story of Jeremiah. And Jeremiah is reminding us when we're in exile after the first temple is destroyed in 586 BCE, Jeremiah is telling the Israelites, pray, at some point you will be coming back to Jerusalem and back to your mothers. So basically, all 4 of these have a common ingredient, and it's about the fulfillment of promises. They're all terrific, and they're all so wonderful, and we read them every year, and they never get boring.
No.
There's always something new.
It's always another layer.
So those will be the portions this week. Mm-hmm. How fun.
In this time of being and perhaps feeling somewhat isolated, I have to share with you that it feels like, and I'm wondering how many of you feel this way, it feels like we have to take extra steps toward one another. I used to go to the JCC. I taught 5 classes there pre-COVID a week, and I would see most of my friends with very little effort. And then we would exchange a hug or how you doing? What's happened? How's your tennis game? Anything, right? You have to work so much harder to maintain friendships at this point, and you have to maintain connections, and everything is a phone call. It's a reach out. And I have to tell you, I've never felt as much abundance of love as I have during this time. Perhaps even that, checking on family members and making sure that people who are farther away or out of sight, out of mind, are near, and that we're all looking out after each other and connecting with one another. There are some good things, I think, as we come into Rosh Hashanah that we can take from quarantine. And then I guess, one of the last things I wanted to share with you is I've really decked myself out for tonight, just like if I'm going to temple, because I really wanted to, I wanted to feel the feels that I'm used to feeling on Rosh Hashanah, like the charm bracelet I'm telling you, or my mother's cultured pearls, or my bracelet from my friend Nancy that's so meaningful to me. And this year we bought a pomegranate to remind us of all of the work, all of the mitzvot that we need to do. And we just put it on the table as this very physical reminder, more than the challah, and all of the other things. And so there's still time if you want to join us in decking yourself out and, doing some of those ritual things that leave you feeling like, yes, this is it, and we're here. Because it was Rabbi Zeleny that said when she was a guest on the Shabbos show, maybe 6 weeks ago, if we all simply sit down on our couch and turn on live streaming without any of the preparation, it's gonna feel a little tough. And so I'm glad we're having this moment or these moments for the Shabbos show to kind of get ready and think about this. Where are we eating? What's going to happen? All of those kinds of things. Prepare with the Torah portion, all those kinds of things.
Debbie, the holiday, of course, is also called Yom HaZikaron. May you have memory for the good. And of course, we hear about God's memory and everything. He knows everything, or she knows everything. God knows everything. And what I think it means is there's been so many good business days for me and bad business days. But I think of the times where I could have gone to work, but something happened here at home. And I looked at it as a complete inconvenience. And I stayed to help, whether it be you or me, but here at home together. And I believe that memory completely overrides the best sales day and the best day that someone received a big order. I just think that's what the memory means. So we also are taught this is a good week that we have to say, I'm sorry. And so I'm going to tell you, I'm sorry for all the time I made you angry. And I think of all those times. Because Barry Manilow said it best. Barry Manilow said, I feel bad when you're mad. I feel sad when you're mad. If you only knew what I'm going through.
We wish each and every one of you a Shabbat Shalom, Shana Tova, a year of health for all of us. Oh, there's my precious daughter-in-law, Lauren. Shana Tova. I think we're so lucky to be around these tables. May they be big or small. So lucky for the amazing community of clergy all over the country who's making sure that our worship is meaningful. So much gratitude, and all of the staff of all of the congregations, and people just reaching out to one another to make sure, let's make a kugel together or whatever it all is. Wait, what about my challah?
Yeah, what's going on about that? Oh, wait, this is one challah, but there's got to be another one.
Well, it's little right now.
Yeah, but it always grows
because
up.
it has another hour. So hold on, it has another hour, so it has some time. But
So it's little, but what's little in Hebrew?
Katan.
Oh, katan.
Flashcards. There it is. There's Linda. There's Cassandra. There's Anne. Anne, you made some beautiful dishes. I saw that. And Mindy, oh my gosh, Mindy's like our Shabbos show #1 person who's here, no matter what.
I was a chef's assistant, as I always am, and I see how much work you put into this most beautiful day, and everything is just gorgeous. It just makes my mouth water thinking about dinner and also about sitting next to you at services with no usher.
No usher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the old days.
But same God, same us.
God. Same God.
Different
same
geography. Us. You know, the one thing about this particular Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, you know, no distractions, parking, things like that. We can just get down to it and let the layers fall away. Maybe that's a good thing.
Maybe it's a great thing. Lashana Tova, V'tikva Tevu, V'tikva Temu. May we have a sweet year, and may God put us in the book of life for this year.
Seal us all. It is so meaningful to see our friends and our family. Jeremy, I know, was on here. Caroline, we're blessed 100 times over. So, what a meaningful way to begin. Mindy says, "Amen." Thank you, everyone, for being with us. And one more shout out. It's been hard to sometimes even get cooking done. Families are spread apart. And Jeffrey Collinger, who we had last week on our show, helped our family out. And I know right now cars are driving through Spice of Life, picking up their meals. It's, you know, not even just clergy and staff, but there's all these combined efforts that are making sure that during this time of pandemic that we'll never forget that we all have a taste of sweetness, that we all have things that we can celebrate and remember for next year. So thank you all for being with us. Shabbat Shalom, Shana Tova to our friends and our family. May we all have a healthy, healthy year ahead. With that in mind, we can do anything. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Debbie.
Shabbat Shalom, Beardy. He's the cutest, isn't he? Bye, everyone.